Good afternoon. My name is Lauren Alperstein, and I'm an attorney with Boyd Schiller Flexner in Hollywood, Florida, where I practice exclusively marital and family law. I'm a proud Broward County Bar Association member and member of the Women's Leadership Committee. And I'm so happy to be here today, introducing and speaking with my friend Judge Hope Bristol to celebrate and honor Women's International Leader Day, which is celebrated during the month of March. And I could think of no better person than I will have the privilege of interviewing than Judge Bristol. So, Judge Bristol, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for the honor. I really appreciate it. And I'm just thrilled to be able to be here and get a chance to talk to you.
Well, I'm hoping, Your Honor, that you can share with us just some stories and a little bit of your background.
Mhm.
You're a huge role model for many of the female lawyers in Broward County. And we want to know from you, what made you go to law school? What was it about, your experiences growing up that decided that this is what you wanted to do with your life?
Well, I actually am born in New York and moved to Florida when we were about 8. And I remember my mom, actually, who was a bookkeeper at the time and a very strong woman, but didn't go off to become an accountant. And she was a bookkeeper for a very prominent criminal defense attorney in Miami. So I used to go to the office with her on days off from school and really started taking an interest in the law by being in his law office. And when I went into high school, they had a court observer program. And I remember going to the Metro Dade Justice Building in Miami, where I had grown up, and watching Ellen Marfonius Gable, who was one of the very, very few women judges in Dade County. And I just thought that that was so cool. And then when I went off to college, I actually got a chance to intern at the Dade State Attorney's Office. I interned with Marilyn Milian, who was a prosecutor at the time for Janet Reno, and who now sits as the judge for the People's Court. And we were assigned to Judge Amy Steele Donner's division. So I count myself very lucky that I have always had these very strong women role models in my life in the legal profession, and just never can think of a time when I didn't want to go to law school, except for a little period of time in college where I actually considered me going to cantorial school. I was one of those guitar playing, singing kids in college, and I had a couple of rabbis who were really pressuring me to go to cantorial school and become a cantor. But I did not take that path, obviously.
Or maybe we can have a judicial talent show one day.
Wouldn't that be great?
As a female lawyer, and now obviously, female on the bench, have there been any obstacles that you've had to overcome due to your gender?
I've been very lucky. I started in the Broward State Attorney's Office, and I never had an issue with any gender discrimination in that office. Mike Satz, I think, put women in really good positions in that office. There were some old school judges that, of course, we had appeared in front of that didn't always make it easy on female lawyers. I remember one instance, I was assigned an executive assignment because somebody from a state attorney's office in the middle of Florida had gotten arrested for a DUI, so they couldn't prosecute the case. So I was assigned to go and prosecute that case. And I remember that the judge in that case, it was a little tiny courthouse, I think it had one courtroom, introduced me as the prostitutrix from Fort Lickerdale.
How did that, what did you do to respond to that?
I couldn't believe that he had said it at first, and it was actually a little embarrassing because my mom had driven with me over to, it was in Punta Gorda, to watch me try the case. And it was just so appalling that I was more shocked than anything else. And I just stood there and prosecuted my case, and and actually got a conviction. But it was just, something like that takes your breath away because you just don't think that it's going to happen. And I was just a super young prosecutor and handled it the only way I could think of handling it, which was just trying that case to the best of my ability.
Right. I think unfortunately a lot of us, especially as young female lawyers, have had stories like that.
Yeah,
So I think we look to you, as an example of how you overcome things like that and how you
yeah.
push through and persevere. Um, do you think being a woman impacted you as a young lawyer at all?
As I said, I was really fortunate in having really strong female role models in my personal life and um, in college and law school. So I think I really benefited from their mentorships. So I just count myself super lucky to have those women involved in my life.
How long were you at the state attorney's office for?
So I was at the state attorney's office for 10 years, and I really gravitated to working in the sex crimes child abuse unit. I really wanted to prosecute those cases on behalf of women and children. So I was in that division for 6 years. And when I left the state attorney's office, I went into private practice, and I had a small family practice for 5 years before I became a judge. And I really wanted to have an office to help women get out of domestic violence situations, and offered many low-cost divorces to help women be able to get out of those relationships and get back on track.
Well, it's so commendable. I think, a lot of us try, and look for ways to give back to the community, by helping women and children. I know in my own practice, you do to empower other women,
Sure.
especially when they're in difficult situations. So thank you
Right.
for that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your personal life? If you have children, how old they are?
Yeah, so I've been married just 31 years now, this past January,
Congratulations.
to a lawyer that we met in law school. And I really have to tip my hat to him because I feel like I am able to have a life of public service because he is so supportive of me and what I want to do. So I really do thank John for being that support for me. And we've got two awesome kids. My son Jordan is 28, and he is a kindergarten teacher in Virginia and loves teaching those little kiddos. And he actually gravitates to the kids. He's in a deaf and hard of hearing cluster. So he's really helping those kids get acclimated and mainstream into regular elementary school. And our daughter is just turned 25, and she is a veterinary student. She'll be entering her 4th year, and of course wants to save the world and all the rhinos and elephants in it. So she's ready to go back to Africa and do her work there.
That's wonderful. So I guess as some advice to other fellow working moms, I'm a mom of two young children. My son's 8 and my daughter's 5. And so this is all they know is both of their
Mhm.
parents working. And I too am very lucky. I have a very supportive husband who enables me and allows, I guess supports me in doing other things that I do in the community. So do you have any advice for other working moms, that work-life balance or achieving it, or is there a work-life balance? Does it
There should be a work-life balance, especially in times like we're going through right now, and not just work, but also make sure that you exercise self-care, which is what we try to focus on in our therapeutic courts, because compassion fatigue is real and vicarious trauma is real. And you want to be able to take care of yourself so that you can also take care of your family and take care of your clients. I was speaking earlier with a friend of mine who decided to go back to school for her master's when she turned 60, and really wanted an A in all of her classes. And she had a B in one of her classes, and was speaking with a professor who's in his 40s about what she needed to do to get an A. And he was a little flippant in that answer, and by saying, you can't have everything all the time. And her response, and I totally agree with her on that, is women, I think, are built differently. We have been told that we can't do because of this reason or that reason. And I think that made us as a gender stronger, that we look at that and don't want to take that no for an answer. And because of the way we're built, and our drive and our ambition and our compassion, that we really are able to figure out how to compartmentalize and get everything done that we need to get done. And I think a lot of that is, your own personal feelings of wanting to succeed and show your kids, whether they be sons or daughters, that they can do anything that they put their mind to, and that they shouldn't take can't as an answer. And just to go and do it, and to really surround yourself by positive and supportive people. That's helped so much me in my life and in my career, to have those supports, and don't get hung up on that little stuff.
Well, your successes are definitely inspirational to us. And so I just wanted to ask you if you can share with us some of your proudest accomplishments so far in your judicial career, that you've done with the Unified Family Court and Dependency Divisions.
So one of my proudest accomplishments is the creation of our early childhood court, therapeutic court program. I've been sitting in the dependency court for 18 years, for the length of time that I've been on the bench. And there is burnout to hearing these stories and seeing this abuse and seeing this generational violence of parents having kids who are coming into care, and then those kids having kids that are coming into care. And we really had to think of a better way. And I was fortunate enough to be part of the National 0 to 3 program and the Safe Baby Court program. And it's something I really wanted to bring to Broward and bring to the state of Florida. So we started on the ground floor and really started learning about brain science and adverse childhood experiences and trauma, to really help heal these families so that they get to keep their kids, and those kids don't have kids that come into care.
So what does that program entail?
More frequent court hearings. It entails specific kinds of therapies. There are certain core components that we have to follow. It entails educating all of the team members. It's a very non-adversarial program. We don't have trials, and everybody works as a team to get these parents rehabilitated and to help them overcome their traumas, so that they in turn can help their children overcome the trauma of having been removed from them, so that they can get their kids back and never have to come back into care as a reopen. And we've been lucky enough to have 23 sites open up through the state of Florida. I was the state chair for Florida's Dependency Court Improvement Panel, and one of our goals from last year was to create statewide standards for our early childhood court programs, because we are so geographically different in the state of Florida. And they were just approved by the Supreme Court last year. So that was also a really great accomplishment to be able to do that. And just this past July, our state legislature codified our early childhood court programs into Florida statute. So that just, it makes me so proud to be able to have been part of that. So.
Do you think that being a woman helped motivate you to do that and helped inspire you to do that?
I think it did. And I think it gave me drive, because you kept seeing these young moms come in and continue having children that continued coming into care. And you really just wanted a better life for them and a better life for their kids. So I really wanted to make sure that we could get that done. But such a large part of it was the education and the science of it. So it's almost going back to school and learning all of that also, and then making sure that your team has all of that education as well.
Well, thank you for bringing that to Broward. It's a huge
Yeah.
asset to our community and our judiciary and our
Thank
judicial system. In addition to your life of public service, I know that you are involved with the community and do give back your time in other ways also. Do you mind sharing with us some of the organizations, that hold a special place to your heart, and what else you do in the community rather?
Yeah, well, I love Jewish Family Services and the Federation. They have Jewish Family Services has a program called Kolot, which helps women in domestic violence situations. So it was interesting. We were at a luncheon, and one of the speakers they had was actually one of my clients when I had my family law practice. And she was talking about her experiences, and then noticed that I was sitting there, and it came over and thanked me for the work that I did when I was an attorney with her. But it was just so nice to be able to see her in that situation. And I love also the Rack Pack with
Me
Jewish
too.
Federation that supplies clothes to women and children who are in need and in domestic violence situations to help them get back on their feet, because sometimes they have to leave in the middle of the night with nothing that except what they have on their back. So to really help them do that and look for a job in appropriate office wear and things like that.
And
So
I think what's so cool about the organizations that you mentioned is that they do it with dignity, and so that the
yes,
women don't feel embarrassed and
absolutely.
excited, and they set up appointments with the mothers, which I think is really it's less embarrassing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any messages or words of wisdom that you want to share to women in our industry and our career? Words of hope, words of wisdom to share with us?
If it's worth achieving, then it's worth putting the time in. Because I think that you really can achieve what you want to achieve, um, with that hard work and perseverance, and a support system. I think it's really hard uh, to be alone, and have to do things by yourself without a strong support system. They don't have to be relatives, they can be your best friend, just somebody to be that mentor and be that sounding board for you, and help you on those days that you feel down or feel like you weren't able to accomplish something, and just to help you and build you back up. I've been fortunate to have a great group of girlfriends that have picked me up on those days that I felt like I failed, and I just am thankful for them and the support that they've given me.
Well, we're thankful for you, and thank you for taking the time to speak with us. And we're so fortunate to celebrate you and all of the accomplishments
Yeah.
that you have and just the difference that you've made in our community, in our judiciary, and from one working mom to another. Thank you for giving us.
You can do anything. We like being cheerleaders for each other.
We all have a cheerleader.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you so much.